Deion Sanders Jr. throws three-word shade at Mike Tomlin after Steelers HC fails to back up his word on Shedeur Sanders. It's been less than a fortnight since Shedeur Sanders' inexplicable, at the time, at least, slide in the NFL draft. Sure, feel like it's been longer, though perhaps because it's been discussed and divulged ad nauseum. Fairly so, because of its unprecedented nature. We'd seen slides, but none this abrupt and of this magnitude. Alas, there was one franchise that was expected to be the floor for Shedeur. Picking 21st overall, considered the absolute lowest he could sink. In the lead up to the draft, there was plenty of rationale behind the notion that Shedeur Sanders wouldn't get past the Pittsburgh Steelers in round one. There was a clear need at the position, for starters. Throughout the process, there'd been credible reporting about how much Mike Tomlin admires Shedeur. He'd made visits to the facility, and his visits were reciprocated with the Steelers sending the cavalry to his pro day in Colorado, including Mike Tomlin. But it turned out to be all smoke and mirrors, and this didn't transpire. The Steelers pivoted, and Shedeur wound up at their AFC North contemporaries, the Cleveland Browns. Now, Coach Tomlin has publicly addressed what went down during Shedeur's visit to Pittsburgh, and it has instigated a reaction from his half-brother Deion Sanders Jr., aka Bucky. In hindsight, Coach Tomlin and the Steelers brass made the shrewd choice of not picking him in round one. After all, Shedeur Sanders was available in round four, too. But when they picked D lineman Jack Sawyer with the 123rd pick, it drew a figurative line in the sand. Spurred people on to having an epiphany. Just how far down is Shedeur in their estimation for them to not consider him a good value at this very belated juncture? By this point in the draft, one thing was unequivocal. No matter your opinion of him, Shedeur Sanders was the best player available. Not just quarterback, player, period. The Steelers still hadn't drafted one, and yet they passed on him. Naturally, this facilitated the belief that Shedeur's private workouts and meetings with Mike Tomlin were a disaster. Unsalvageable. However, the man's own comments don't co-sign that belief. Speaking with the media about Shedeur Sanders' visit, Mike Tomlin had only positive things to say. It was a normal pre-draft visit. To spend time with a young man, to talk football, to get to know him as an individual, to get to see how he processes and sees the game, how he articulates his football experience. From that standpoint, I was a very normal visit, Tomlin said. He was then asked if anything stood out, anything that Coach Tomlin didn't see coming or didn't know about Shedeur. I think the things that stood out were evident. There's a toughness there that doesn't get talked about enough. There's a competitive spirit there that doesn't get talked about enough. I know he's very talented and made a lot of plays for his university and his team. But the intangible qualities displayed on tape were impressive to me. These comments didn't quite go down too well with Deion Sanders Jr. Deion Sanders Jr.'s short, rhetorical reaction to Mike Tomlin's comments on Shedeur Sanders. Conceded, what Mike Tomlin said may be coach talk. Vanilla lip service to quell the controversial discourse around Shedeur Sanders. Coach Tomlin is an elite man manager and has situational awareness. He knows what he needs to feed into the airwaves for such a delicate, sensitive topic. Plus, you cannot beat a man who's already down. That said, Deion Sanders Jr. still has none of it. The wounds are still fresh, and his reaction on IG implies something a lot of people believe. That Mike Tomlin and the Steelers said some stuff to Shedeur Sanders pre-draft that they didn't stay 10 toes down on. Deion Jr., who runs the well-off media platform following the career and life of his brother, wrote a short yet resounding message. "You tell me," he said in the caption. The post itself relays Mike Tomlin's aforementioned presser. The comments of this IG post express a unanimous shock at why, despite this stance, Tomlin and company didn't draft Shedeur Sanders. This isn't the first time Deion Jr. has had public outrage over how his brother is discussed. It probably won't be the last either. Well, the die has been cast now. Shedeur will get an opportunity to prove Coach Tomlin and the front office wrong twice a year. The Steelers will try to extrapolate what their alternative quarterback selection, Will Howard, showed during Ohio State's dominant playoff run to the Natty. They might even add Aaron Rodgers to the QB room. Shedeur and Deion Jr. will hope he does indeed get a shot at redemption with the Browns. NFL Icon's bold claim against Shedeur Sanders' draft freefall as Justin Jefferson clears stance on Browns QB. On Thursday night, day one of the 2024 NFL Draft, Shedeur Sanders stood under the spotlight, rocking leather, diamonds, and full confidence. Family, Colorado, and fans all believed his name would be called early. But it didn't happen. Day 2 came and went. Still nothing. By Saturday, round 5, Sanders was in his backyard in Canton, Texas, dressed down in a cut-off tee, football tucked under one arm, phone in the other. And finally, he got a real call. Cleveland Browns GM Andrew Berry popped up on FaceTime with a direct statement. "Hey, I know it's been a long weekend. We're going to take you off the board here." "All right, brother." Sanders, who was waiting for his name to be called, finally took a sigh of relief as he replied, "Yes, sir, let's do it." On the 144th pick overall, Deion Sanders' son was selected by the Browns. This freefall puzzled fans, as many analysts questioned the NFL draft and the team's decision to skip a good QB. Even former three-time NFL All-Pro Sean Merriman also talked about it during a new episode of the Up and Adams show. Merriman even made a bold claim that there were a few teams who were eager to get Sanders early in the draft. He said, "So my network, Lifestyle Sports TV, we have rights to these West Shrine Bowl practices. And so we live stream the entire practice for 4 days. And when I tell you the first 2 or 3 days of those practices, I've never seen it like that. It's never been like that. The Shrine Bowl, every NFL personnel, GM, you name it, was there." Recalling the team's eagerness to see Shedeur Sanders, the ex-player added, "And I talked to Brian Dable. And I also talked to the GM there. And I didn't tell you that between the Giants and the Titans they would not leave Shedeur alone, to the point where I was almost tripping over their digital people with cameras because they were in our way. They were just trying to get as close as they were to Shedeur. So I knew that they were very high on Shedeur. I don't know what happened from the East-West Shrine Bowl into the draft." So, as per Merriman, something changed, but no one really knows what. Well, perhaps the fact that he skipped his homework in the Giants' case. But teams were definitely interested. Shedeur Sanders was the guy everyone showed up to see, even though he wasn't practicing. Cameras were on him. Scouts were watching his every move from the sidelines. According to him, the Giants and the Titans were all in. They were locked in on the QB, and he was supposed to be their pick. But then something shifted. As per the reports, maybe the interviews didn't go well. Maybe skipping the East-West Shrine Bowl hurt him. Some little draft time chatter picked up and may have messed things up. Merriman didn't have all the answers, but he was sure of one thing. Shedeur Sanders was meant to be a first-rounder, and both those teams were ready to make it happen. Nevertheless, the Browns chose him in the 5th round, and guess what? It's good for him. Wait, what? Yes, as per Merriman. Shedeur can't see it now, but him flipping past where he slipped to might have been the best thing that has ever happened to him. Well, it's because when he ends up being a starter, because he's going to be the starter at some point. The expectations now, the weight is off his shoulders. I feel that right now, Shedeur Sanders is in this position where he can't lose. He can only get the 5th round draft pick. Got all this hype, great. He slid to the 5th. So, how much do we expect from a 5th rounder? Hence, Adams replied, just go in there, undersell, over-deliver, and maybe he will. Yes, that's how Sanders can rock the NFL stage, as lower expectations could help him rise even more. A similar thought was also shared by a Vikings star. Justin Jefferson fires up Shedeur Sanders. What can we say? Justin Jefferson is meant to be a hype man. Just recently, he encouraged the Australian F1 driver, Oscar Piastri, to win and try his gritty. And now, Jefferson has another hype message for NFL newcomer Shedeur Sanders. During a recent interview, Jefferson said, "I definitely thought that he should have been drafted in the 1st or 2nd round. Nevertheless, according to him, this should work as a motivation for Sanders, as he quipped, it's just more fire for him and more chip on his shoulder that he can use going into the league." That's right. Everyone saw it. Shedeur Sanders dropped hard, and that hurt. He was once expected to go early, but round after round passed, and nothing happened. It got so bad, people started whispering he might not get picked at all. That didn't happen, but the fall was enough to shake his belief in himself. A lot of folks now doubt if he's got what it takes at the next level. But not Jefferson and Sean Merriman. And maybe, just maybe, that belief will carry more weight than all the noise around him.